What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge here with me from Across the Park podcast, where you can go to if you want to listen to all things blue shite. Only joking, lad. Only joking.
Right. I've been called worse.
So make sure you give that a follow too. Big thanks as well if you're on Patreon. Didn't actually get our bet on our Patreon bets in last weekend, and I can just blame Everton for that. So it's one of those things.
Well, it was pretty much. It was in the toilet before.
It was dead anyway when Southampton got beat 6-0, was it?
yeah.
But I want to blame Everton anyway.
Yeah, right, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so let's get straight into sport. Last week was not great for boxing.
Most of Merseyside, I guess.
Most of half the Blues and anyone who obviously wants a beefy to do well. I was out watching it. I was a little bit worse for wear by the time the fight started. I was wetting our friend's baby's head. From my kind of drunken state, and then when I watched it back in the morning, just looked like a weird fight. He just did not get going. I mean, I've listened to the interviews since then, and I didn't realise it was something like a 3-stone weight cut or something like that.
I mean, yeah, I
don't know the exact. It was a.
I think it's generous to Liam to say it was weird. He'll miss himself. He was dismantled, wasn't he? Completely.
What do you think, though? I mean, what
the weight cut? I think the context behind the weight cut, just for the to put it simply, he got an injury, didn't he? 3 or 4 weeks out from the original date. My understanding is that they'd asked for a longer delay, and Eubank's camp had said no. We're going to give you this much time to recover from your back injury, which consequently meant that he has a really short period of time, not only to train for the fight but to make weight. And I guess that, and again, without being a boxer and being in that position, when you start your camp, and you normally start your camp maybe 10 weeks, 12 weeks before, the first 4 to 6 weeks is cutting weight, and then you've maybe got 4 to 6 weeks to train, for the actual fight itself and the opponent. My understanding, and I guess Beefy's explanation, is that his whole camp was literally making weight, and that was it.
Because I forgot he had that injury. That's what set it back.
The back injury was it was 3 or 4 weeks out from the initial date. He recovered from the back injury, I guess, almost to the day when he was meant to fight, and then that left him only 4 or 5 weeks to make weight again. And Beefy's not one of them fighters that, again, with respect, stays at the weight that he is, there or thereabouts. He lives a normal life like everyone else does, and he goes out with his mates and he enjoys it.
I think it'd be pretty much impossible, wouldn't it, to stay at fighting weight?
Oh yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
particularly as you get older. Was he 35 now? Yeah, it gets, as we all know, it gets harder when you get older to keep the weight off. You have to be conscious of that, and I think if you spend so long in camps, the last thing you want to be doing is being on a strict diet again when you come out of camp. It
sounds silly as well. I mean, if he's broke his finger or something, he could probably have still ran or something, but I'm guessing, I don't know the extent of the injury.
Oh no,
if a back injury, I doubt you could do much to keep the weight off and stuff.
Must be the worst, as you say. Like, even if it was a foot or ankle or whatever, you could maybe do some cardio and keep it upper body and whatever, but even swimming, you can't even swim with a bad back. It's like,
I think he only threw something like 40 or 50 punches, didn't he, or something? It was.
And look, that's it, isn't it? If you know that you're not feeling your strongest, you've got to conserve that energy, haven't you? But when you've got someone who's as active as Eubank is, and say active is as busy as Eubank is, and he was planning to be, and was in, he was in great shape, then it's difficult to counter that barrage of punches if you're only throwing 3 or 4 around.
I think to me though, the big question would be though, what would it have been like if Beefy was fit? It's one of them we'll never know. And the thing that frustrated me was the next morning, I look on Instagram and Eddie Hearn straight away is promoting Eubank Ben.
I mean, it was. I think even Beefy would have known that was going to be the case. Even when he got asked, I think before the fight, if Eubank wins, are you going to have a rematch, or is there going to be a trilogy? And he was almost the first to say, look, I think if he wins, he's going to be straight on to Conor Benn in terms of that's the big money fight. He knows that's where he'll probably attract bigger.
Bit of a joke, that though, isn't it?
It is a bit of a joke, but it happens, I guess, in every sport, doesn't it? There's personalities, certain people and personalities, certain rivalries that seem to attract more attention and more money. But it is a joke because, Liam will argue, and there's not even an argument to it. He was equally as convincing in the first fight, if not more so, because he got him out of there so early. Eubank was always going to argue that was, and he was saying it, wasn't he, in the build-up, that it was a freak, and he dominated the 3 rounds before Beefy knocked him out. But yeah, I think just to touch on what you said at the top, it's really disappointing for Beefy, and look, I think he'll just be. I think after when the fight had first finished, I was like looking at it thinking, does he just jib it now? And this is not, again, me putting any words in his mouth or suggesting that he should do, because there's nothing to be embarrassed about the way that he's been beaten and the opponents he's been beaten by. But I guess I was thinking, what more is there for him to do in boxing that he can realistically do? He can only go up a weight, which is only going to probably make some of the fights more difficult for him.
Yeah,
he's been in with the best in the world. He's sold out arenas. I'm sure he's not struggling for money, but he was the first person to say, I can't wait to kind of get back in there and right that wrong.
Graceful in defeat as well, the whole family were all the posts and that since. That's just the frustrating thing though, that he's just been overlooked straight away, and it's like, right, forget about him now, move on to Ben. It shouldn't
be like, and there obviously wasn't a clause, I don't think, either way that they had to fight each other again. I don't think there ever should be. I'm not a big fan of like rematch clauses. I think that's nonsense.
It can hold a lot of things up, can't it?
It can do, yeah, but I also think it's, it can just put fighters in a certain box that they can't, and promoters where they can't actually leverage anything, and they're stuck to what they originally planned. So
I think fair play as well to Eubank, by the way. I mean, as much as Beefy wasn't at the races for the reasons we've mentioned,
he was outstanding.
He done what he had to do, didn't he? And I think mentally as well, to go back into the same arena where you've been knocked out, for the first time in your career, go back there, right the wrongs. Well, not the first time. It was the first time he'd been knocked down, hasn't it?
Oh, it was the first time he'd been knocked down, yeah.
So to go back and right those wrongs, I think fair play to him.
He shows a lot of character.
Yeah.
And again, you say, as you rightfully say, Beefy was graceful in defeat, as with the rest of his team. And Eubank was equally graceful in victory. He spoke about how much he respects Liam and whatever. And so, look, there's that mutual respect, which I think was always there deep down, not as people, but as fighters. And I don't think that trilogy is going to happen. Not that I don't think it should, but I don't think it will.
Yeah.
I think the Conor Ben fight will be the one that he wants, that Eddie Hearn wants. That, look, let's be honest, I think the majority of the public.
I was going to say, I agree with the public, yeah.
I would love as a scouser and whatever, and I'd love to see him, Beefy, have the chance, fully fit, to fight him again. He may fight him again in a year or so's time, but we'll see. But yeah, disappointing for him and his team, but I'm sure they'll bounce back.
Frankie Stringer on his team got the win.
Class.
Was that 6-0 now or 8?
Yeah, 6-0. Yeah, and I know he's making ripples. He looks in great shape. It's probably the best shape I've seen him in. Because he even says, I think in the build-up, I feel like I'm getting my manpower.
Yeah,
He's a kid.
Yeah, seeing him in the gym, like you say, like a little bit like you in the gym and stuff. You see him, but I seen him on the interviews then, and you thought, bloody hell, he's like, seems to have filled out a bit.
Yeah, and again, conversely, we're talking about it's hard to shift weight when you get to maybe 35, 36. I think it's harder to maybe build that muscle when you're still 18, 19 or whatever. So yeah, I think he looks like he's starting to grow into himself a little bit. He's still got a lot of learning to do, but he looks a serious prospect, yeah.
One thing which probably isn't, it is boxing related, of course, but Eubank's trainer, did you see that story?
Oh, with the gun?
So as he's leaving,
Eubank.
He's got a loaded gun in his suitcase. I mean, I don't know what the stupidest bit of this story is. The fact that he thinks he can get away with it, or the fact it's loaded and good to go. Like, I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't know, in this day and age, thinks that it's acceptable to take a gun on a plane. I mean, my first thought was, did he come over with the gun, or did he get it when he was here?
So, you know what, I didn't think
of
that.
Because how's he got into the country with the gun in the first place? I mean, look, it's more than likely that he come over with, and he's probably got a license. Now, bit of context here, and not that it doesn't make it stupid to travel on a plane with a gun. Nearly everyone in New York carries a gun all the time. Like, if you're in New York and you haven't got a gun, you're in the minority.
In New York?
New York City. Or,
I don't know, you could have them in New York?
Yeah, in the states of New York. Yeah, of course you can carry in most states.
I thought they were like...
No, you're like...
I do remember my first time in America. I went to Texas, and like seeing someone like a cowboy there, like a proper cowboy with a gun, and it is mad to think, like, this was when I was like 20 or something, 19 or something. You're thinking...
Sorry, to correct myself there as well. They train out of Las Vegas, don't they? His gym's in Las Vegas, but
yeah.
I was drawn to New York because I lived in New York for quite a while, and I remember when I lived there, and actually my wife still does a lot of work there. You literally, if you don't carry a gun, you're like... Surely
though you can't get on planes though in New York, from state to state.
No, don't think you can go state to state. I think a plane, like
anything are getting hijacked.
Anything in America with a plane, it's certainly not allowed, is it? But bizarre decision from them to take a gun on a plane. The story would become even more bizarre if he bought one here. That would be mad, like underground got to come out, that, hasn't it? Like, that's...
But that's like a serious prison time.
Well, yeah, that's it.
I think it's 5 years, I read. He's come here, trained Eubank, and now he's got a 5 year.
He hasn't even come here and trained Eubank. He was training in Las Vegas. So he's only flew over.
For the fight.
For a week.
What was he expecting to happen?
Maybe he's seen the bills up and thought,
what
like,
the
Smiths were going to come packed with ammo.
But yeah, I've read somewhere, like, it's 5 years, so it's... Mate,
so he should, yeah.
Like, that's going to be the worst decision of his life, that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Seeing that
Just briefly on that bill as well, Fraser Clark fought as well, didn't he? Which it was built, Dave Allen built up. I say built up. David Allen's a character, and he, you know, he'd suggested that he was in the shape of his life and all that, and that he was going to beat Fraser Clark. Fraser Clark got rid of him in the end, and it was he fought dirty, which is what I expected from Dave Allen. I was gutted because I had over 6 rounds. And David Allen didn't get out of his chair at the end of the 6th round. I was like, surely that's... But when you read the small print...
Just one second.
If he'd have stepped up, it would have been fine. That's, but he didn't get out of his chair. It's proper harsh. Because I expected him to make it difficult for him, which he did. But it was something of a punch bag over the course of the 6 rounds. Like,
the other bits as well, mate, just on leaning over to MMA, is seeing Conor McGregor got his black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, which then prompted Twitter, or X as it's called now, to look through his old posts, and he must have done one saying, all I want is 2 belts, 25 it was something like, all I want is a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, 2 gold belts, and 25 mil in the bank. Is that so much to ask for off the gym? And like, that was what was
mantra,
yeah, but who's the footballer who done that? Like, I'm fed up of being skint. Andy Robertson.
It's
a bit like that tweet, you know what I mean? And he's tweeted that back in whenever it was, like 2010, 2012 or something. And he's got his 2 belts, he's got his black belt, and a damn sight more than 25 mil.
He might not have it in the bank, but he's probably worth.
Lad, he'll have that in the bank, 25 mil.
I mean,
he's fucking worth about $500 million, isn't he?
Is it?
I don't know, he's worth a few quid anyway.
2013 is when he tweeted that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fair play, it's a good 10 years. Well,
yeah.
That's some
brilliant
achievement in 10 years, like.
And the other thing is...
in fairness, I'd probably say, out of the things he's achieved, the black belt's probably been the most difficult. Because of his personality, and once he was in that octagon, he flew through that 25 mil, didn't he?
Well, my mate, he's been on the podcast, Mike Bates, the Atlantic grappler, ex-Marine, ex-MI5, and he's also a black belt. He told me that the guy who taught him, he was like a Dan black belt or whatever, he said to me, for someone who's kind of, I've had about 4 hours lessons of jiu-jitsu, he said there's a closer gap between me and Mike, who's a black belt, than there is between Mike and his teacher, which is mad. So like a complete novice here, I'm closer to Mike than Mike is to his trainer, which just shows you like the levels, like it's mad. And someone else who's went through levels, and I don't really want to give him too much kind of, you know, build him up too much, but I would say to go and watch it, the Jake Paul documentary. Have you seen it?
Not yet, no.
It's interesting. Not gonna start saying he's a boxer or anything like that, but his rise and through what he's done and all that, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it's based around the Tommy Fury show. Kind of ends at the Tommy Fury fight when he does actually get beat by a professional boxer. That's the whole thing. But it is interesting to see, like, you know, how he's went from this Disney star, couple of brothers arsing round to now, you know.
Yeah, the whole thing is my cup of tea. However, you can't not have any respect for the amount of training he's put in to go from, as you say, where he was to where he is now. Now, you know, I'm not saying he deserves more respect or the same amount of respect that a regular boxer who's served their time and been in that gym since they were 8 years old or whatever, and has not had that that platform to start with, but he still had to transform the opinion of the public, you know, even if it's his followers, do you know what I mean? To be taken seriously. He's
looked at the game from the outside and thought, I can play this in a better way.
He's seen a gap in the market.
Yeah.
Same at Logan in the wrestling.
Yeah.
Logan's like a fairly big name in wrestling now, and you wouldn't, if you looked back at them like 10 years ago, they were just like little gimps, weren't they? On YouTube that everyone's taking the piss out of.
Yeah.
And now they've got these like multi-million deals, they've got the Prime and all that kind of stuff, and You can't deny that part of it.
It is an interesting watch. Like, I actually didn't think I'd enjoy it, and was said to myself I wasn't going to watch it, but I did. And
he trains hard. Like, I mean, I haven't seen the documentary, but I've seen a lot of the footage, and I've seen his schedule and stuff. He doesn't mess about. He's not like half-hearted with it. And
the thing is, what we say all the time is boxing can save lives. You know, getting lads into the gym, giving them purpose, and I think that's what it did for him. He had it. So yeah, didn't ever think I'd say it, but it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
Roundup of sport as well, bit of like a whistle-stop tour. You got the Ryder Cup starting next week, is it? I think the teams are getting picked this week.
The picks have come out.
Have they come out?
They've been picked. The Americans. No major surprises. Zach Johnson, the captain. I guess I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but the controversial one was Brooks Koepka, who's a live golfer now. Obviously wouldn't have got in on the PGA rankings, which is normally where they start. He's classed as a wild card. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Ryder Cup picks work. You've got, a point system which dictates your normal picks that you can pick from, for your team, and then it's, I think, 3 or 4 wild cards that you can pick at the end of it. Might be more. But Brooks Koepka was selected as one of the wild cards, which, given the rivalry between the PGA golfers and the kind of beef that's gone on behind the scenes, should be seen somewhat controversial. Zach Johnson's kind of poured water over it straight away and said, look, he's a multi-major winner. He's brilliant at that stage. He's very popular amongst his teammates, which I guess it shouldn't be surprising somewhat, because like we've said before, it's like your mate going and working for another business and just getting more money. But that was, I guess, a little bit of it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Whether the European golfers try to like pick him, do you know what I mean, and try and wind him up a little bit, because that thing goes on. That goes on in Ryder Cup compared to like the tournaments. There's loads of trying to get under the other team's skin.
Well, that's what I think is so fascinating. Listen, it is the same game. You're hitting a ball into a hole, but I just think it's such a kind of lonely sport 99% of the time. Throw in a team aspect around it, it just got that whole new kind of political dimension to it then, hasn't it? And it's like, and I think it's...
No, I think as well, the personality the golfers comes to the fore, and whether they can not only live with the pressure of, because as you say, the pressure normally is, can I turn up and play? But you're playing against someone else, and it's not about you playing well, it's almost like just being better than them.
You've just one shot better than them.
You've just got to beat the other person. So trying to like get under the skin of the opponents is a big part of it. For the Europeans, Ludwig Aberg was picked. I think he's only been pro for about 8 or 9 months, which again has got to be seen as a controversial pick. But massive pressure for him as a 23-year-old, which he'll be half the age of some of the players that are playing in there, which in other sports I guess is seen as an advantage, but in golf, from a psychological point of view, and not being in that type of environment before, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on, particularly in the singles. I think in like, the doubles and whatever, it's a bit different because you're kind of leaning on, the experience of your teammate, but in the singles it'll be interesting to see how he does as well.
I'll be honest, I'm a fair weather golf fan, so once it gets going, especially the last day, but the last few days I'm like...
Yeah, same, to be fair.
I like the second, third, but it's good that it's on the horizon anyway. As is the Rugby World Cup. Again, I'm not really banging to that, but I think it's France, New Zealand, I think, kicking things off the first game. And then again, once that gets to the quarters, I'll start waving my flag on that. You also had an horse racing. It's been making a bit of noise this week. Frankie Dettori said that this was going to be his last year of racing, but the Americans are waving a big fat checkbook at him, and he's now potentially thinking about doing another little stint in America before he stops riding for good. And I think what the kind of media storm is about it, at the end of the day, it's a fella said he might quit, and now he said I'm not going to.
Not unusual.
It's fine. But I think there's such a huge gap. He's proven this season, which is meant to be his last season, that he is still such a top draw. He's still a great jockey. He's still a great personality. He's still great for the sport. And I think there's this thing of, oh no, if he's gonna not ride in England and ride in America anymore, what are we gonna do? And I think some people would rather he retires and we can move on, rather than go and apply his trade elsewhere. That's the kind of vibe I was getting from the little articles I was reading, the odd bits on social media. But yeah, he might do a U-turn and keep on riding, which would be interesting.
I mean, for me, like for the UK and I guess the fair weather horse racing fans, which I'd definitely put myself in that bracket, apart from when I'm going to races and pretending I know what I'm talking about. Who watches US racing? Do you know what I mean?
No.
what is it, the Derby? What's the Derby called? The Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Which again,
it's a lot of money over there though for it.
Yeah, it is. But like, I don't know. I just can't see.
Yeah. I personally, the one, you've got the
Dubai's a bit more like people pay a little bit more attention to the Dubai race.
Yeah, Maidan, you've got Maidan over there. But I think just in general, and being a bit broad over all sports, if I was coming to the end of my career and got the chance to go and play in America, I'd fucking jump at it.
Of course, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying it was going to be the Saudi money, but just in general, the way like Beckham did, Messi's done it, Frankie Dettori might.
Do you know what as well? If you're his agent as well, you're saying, look, for your brand, if you're Frankie, because he's going to have some kind of monetize, he's going to monetize himself somewhere.
Loads of TV work, hasn't he? So
that's it. And that's another opportunity, isn't it? You go over to America, suddenly become a personality, because he is a great personality, and I think that personality will continue to help him monetize, himself on it.
Another one on that, have you seen on Netflix the Quarterback?
I haven't. You know what? Jen's watched it, my wife.
Yeah.
She said it's amazing.
Well, what I thought was interesting, I'm only halfway through it, but they follow 3 quarterbacks. And I'm guessing at the start, as the Netflix producers, you've just got to kind of hope
that one of them gets picked.
That one of them has a decent story, or, what I mean, a big high or a big low. And Patrick Mahomes is one of them. And he's just like turning into be like, he was already obviously.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. Like, they're not messing about Netflix, are they?
Yeah, they've done the research.
Yeah, this is, you talk about like this is not going back to the days when
it's not you and when you go to the races and just go, I'll pick that one.
It's not Phil Knight, is it? Back in the day, Knight going, oh, should we maybe just take a chance on? They've done the research.
Yeah, I mean, and he was already. You think he's already won like the kind of player of the year type award, if you like. Yeah, I think it was the Heisman Trophy. I think it might have been called, or he's done
it's
something.
Basically the best.
Yeah. So he was already known. It's not as if, like you say, they've just randomly picked a guy, but he's just going from strength to strength to strength, and it's definitely worth a watch as well.
Do you know what's interesting as well? Like, as I say, my wife watched it, and she was saying after it, I get it NFL now.
Yeah,
watching that, I get it, and I'm actually interested, and I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. So it's clever. Like,
as the series goes on, it definitely goes into more like the tactical plays, and a bit more. So if you're there just for the drama, after a few episodes, you might switch off.
Yeah, but as I say, my wife got no interest whatsoever in NFL, but she stayed with it and was like, she was still quite interested in it. So,
and then the other one, mate, was on the tennis. So we've had the US Open going at the moment. Your man Medvedev,
still going.
He's flying. He's just set up. I think it's a quarter-final, is it?
Yeah, it's the quarters.
Rublev, which is his mate, his Russian counterpart.
It's probably one of the best lineups that I've seen in a while in the quarters as well. You've got first, second and third seeds, and I think it's something like 8, 9, 10, 11 or something, and then one of the...
Well, Novak's playing today, so this has been recorded on Tuesday. He's playing today against the 9th seed, so again, they're all the big hitters are playing each other.
Typho?
I'm not sure the lad's name, but no, he's 9th in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right, all the big hitters are playing each other. I think like what happens most of the time, the big two dogs, Novak and Carlos Alcaraz, have come through pretty.
It'll be Alcaraz who'll face Medvedev on it if they both get through.
Yeah, they're on separate sides.
You've got number 1 against number 3, and then you've probably got number 2. Djokovic against, not 4, because that was not Sinner. Number 4 got knocked out quite early. But no, I said going into it, I fancied Medvedev. It's going to be a test against Rublev, as you say, teammates. They'll know each other really well. I think he'll come through with the serve. The viewers who are watching it'll probably know he's won that game by the time this comes out. But yeah, looking forward to the semis, which I think the weekend, the semis?
I think it'll be the weekend, and the final, I think, as well, will be the weekend as well.
Oh, yeah, so semis will probably be
Friday, maybe.
Friday-ish, and then the finals will only Sunday night.
Yeah. And you had the lad Draper, British lad, who was beat by Rublev. I think
won the first.
He
won the first.
3-1, wasn't he? He got beat, so he won the first one. I'd actually bet on Rublev, so I was actually quite gutted when he.
No, actually, he didn't. Rublev won the first set. Draper got one back. And I think he was about to break him in the third, and then Rublev just destroyed him. Then.
And I think as well, we spoke about it before, the mentality in tennis. I think if you maybe do go a set up, or you manage to find yourself 1-1, that's I think when the pros who've done it for a long time, the likes of Novak and that, and you know
what? Yeah, you're right. And I think if you're ever betting on tennis, just like a little bit of a tip. Most of the betting sites give you the stats on first serves in or success on your first serve. What you tend to find is if the big players, if they've lost the set, it's normally because they've just been a little bit sloppy on the serve.
Yeah.
So if you watch that, if that percentage is really low and they've lost a set, you know they're not going to continue like that for the whole game.
Yeah.
Whereas if the first serve percentage is really high and they've lost, it's probably because they're being outplayed.
It happened in the women's game yesterday. So there was a girl who was number 3, I think. I had a bet on her, and like she should have. I mean, she did win, but she started off just so slow. The service game was horrendous. And I'm thinking, what is going on? My bet's gone down the drain here.
I mean, anyone who plays tennis at any level. I mean, I'm very much a fair weather tennis player, but the serve is always the one that takes me a while to get into, and I'm obviously an absolute novice.
Yeah.
You know, the timing of it and stuff like that. It's massive, isn't it? Because it's a, split second. If it's a little bit slower or it's a few miles per hour slower, your opponent's getting well more time to react. If you're not quite hitting the corner, then you know it's much easier for them to return.
Well, you look at this, then you just made a great point there. So the girl Von der Rusovov from the Czech, she's 9th in the world, and she was playing Stearns, who's ranked 59th in the world. The first set, she loses 7-6 on a tiebreak. Her first serve percentage was 78%. 72%. Yeah. And I was like, what's going on here?
Low for her.
90%.
Come back and smashed her.
90% goes to. And yeah,
that is the difference though. And again, just like if you are just sitting there and you're putting a couple of quid, and tennis is a boss one for value on the end play.
Yeah.
And if you've got a favourite or a player who's clearly better than an opponent who's lost the first set, you can get good odds on them to win, but always check to see what that first serve percentage is like. If it's really high and they've lost the first set, probably means they're being outplayed, so just stay away from it. Yeah. But if it's low, it probably means that they're going to turn it up in the second or third set or whatever.
So I think if it is, which we would imagine, Novak Djokovic and Alcaraz.
Yeah, it should be Alcaraz. Alcaraz looks really good.
If your man Medvedev doesn't come through.
And I think he could be a potential kryptonite to Alcaraz. He's given some good games in the other majors over the last few years. So yeah, I'm hoping Medvedev does a job. But
really, yeah.
Me head's telling me that Alcaraz probably comes through over 4 sets or maybe 5.
Well, I'm also again going against my heart, and I think it will be a Novak Carlos final, but I think Alcaraz will win again.
Do you think so? I mean, Alcaraz has said, hasn't he? He's starting to now prefer the hard court. I don't know if it's just a mind game to try and get in,
I just think I think Wimbledon felt like a little bit of a changing the guard. Yeah. But then Novak comes back and beats him in Cincinnati, so you kind of think, but then I just think it's going to be back to, actually no, he's not quite, No,
I'm going to stick by it. I think Medvedev will come through.
Really?
Yeah, obviously it gets to this point now, and you see, I have hoped for my bet that Alcaraz would have been knocked out by someone else before they met in the semi, because that was always the way the draw was going to go. But I'm obviously
okay. Then if you go with yours, then I'm thinking Novak wins if he's playing against Medvedev. But if it's Alcaraz and Novak, I think Alcaraz is going to win.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, to be fair, it's probably you're probably making a good point there. I think if he gets past Alcaraz, it'll be such a tough game that taxes him.
Yeah.
That Djokovic will probably have the edge for the final. So,
are you going to be mentally strong enough to talk about football?
Yeah, it's been a better week for us.
Would you say?
It's been a better week. It's been a better week, hasn't it?
1 point's better than no points.
Well, we went through in the Cup, so we scored 4 goals in a week compared to no goals in 3 games. Against Doncaster or not, there was other Premier League teams who were knocked out by...
Yeah, Spurs are knocked out.
City has a tough game against AFC Wimbledon in the League 2 as well. Yeah. So, look,
fair one. Listen,
we've got a striker in.
Love the optimism.
We've got a striker in who, I don't care who you are, if you've watched those 2 games, he's made a difference already. The game
he's been a handful,
weekend, he looks exactly what we need. And again, the manager's kind of come out, now the window's closed, and said, look, we've still got players to come back. You've got Jack Harrison, who we got in the window, but he's still injured. McNeil's just come back at the weekend. Calvert-Lewin's still to come back alongside. So I feel a lot better because we've scored goals and we've looked like a better team. We should have beat Sheffield United. Their 2 goals.
Really?
I thought we should have beat them. Pickford made a great save at the end.
Yeah.
But if you look at the first goal they've scored, was a good goal.
They played some good football.
I thought it was a very good goal. The first goal, and the second one's a free goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
did
a
you
shot
see Pickford
that
save?
If the post comes back and it's on the head.
But at the same time, that unbelievable
right
bit of play.
End, yeah.
No, but in the first half, where they ping a ball from left back to the right wing, he chests it, does a 1-2, pulls it back, and Pickford makes a great save. I think, Pickford's made 2 unbelievable saves that easily. I know what you're saying. The goal where it bounces back against them, it's unlucky, but
Pickford's made 2 great saves there, and that's You know, that's what he should do every now and again. He has a
I didn't realise genuinely. I didn't think he'd be this like.
No, I'm not saying that Sheffield United result is a great result for us, because we would have been hoping to go there and get 3 points. I think, as you're getting at there, I think they played well, to be fair to them. But looking at the last 30 minutes against Doncaster, or the last 20 minutes where he's, Beto's made a difference, and then the general play against Sheffield United, I feel a lot better than I did before going into that.
The only reason I thought you wouldn't be as optimistic is we kind of sat here before the Wolves and Sheffield United game, said, look, you need 4 points out of these 2 games. You've ended up with 1. Is there any alarm bells going? I think you've got Arsenal next.
Of course there's alarm bells. We're fair bottom, do you know what I mean? But I still look at them teams around us now that the window's closed, and looking at our options, and again with Jack Harrison, with McNeil, with Calvert-Lewin to come back in, I'm confident there's more goals in that team than what we've seen so far. And likewise, I know that Dyche will eventually start keeping clean sheets, because that's what he does. So I look at, your Luton's, even Sheffield United after the weekend, like, they played well at the weekend, but they will not keep clean sheets, clean sheets in this league, given the way they were defending against us. And I don't think they probably get as many chances against other teams as we might. And you've got Bournemouth. Bournemouth got a good result against Brentford, but I don't think they're a team that looks like they're going to get that many points. I think there's teams down there that
I think you're right with Luton.
Burnley got smashed again.
Yeah.
And I think, I can't see Company changing his style. I just can't.
It's been a big surprise, Burnley, haven't they, there? Tottenham beat them. I mean, they've had a difficult start. They've played Man City, Aston Villa, Spurs, and they've that's only been their 3 games. So you'd expect them there to be fair.
They've only played 3 games, yeah.
You'd expect them to, pick up maybe 1 if they were lucky there. They've picked up none. But yeah, I'm just looking at the bottom of the table now. Luton we thought would struggle. Sheffield United we thought would struggle. I personally thought Everton would struggle. And there, they make up 3 of the bottom 4. Burnley being the shock team for me.
I think if you'd have told any Evertonian or anyone who knows the way Everton have been over the last 18 months that in the first 4 or 5 games these only have Dominic Calvert-Lewin for whatever, half an hour or whatever it was at Villa, I think no one would be surprised that we'd struggle to score goals, and we'd struggle. I mean, we went on about at the end of last season how important he is. So I think, given that he should be back after the international break again, Beto I think has been a really good signing for us, although it's still in the early days. And again, with the players we've got to come back, I'm feeling a lot better about it. Time will tell. Yeah, of course. But
we won't go too much into it next week, as that'll be next week's show. But the next few games, Arsenal, Brentford. It's one thing that I was thinking when you're looking at like fixtures at the minute. I don't think there's like no easy games anymore.
No.
In the Prem, when you're kind of looking and you're maybe picking your footy bet and you're going, they should beat them, they should beat. It's like, really, like Brentford's a tough game.
It is, yeah.
Going away to Brentford is tough. Although saying that, you normally have quite a good record against Arsenal, I think, the last few years, but still,
it's a tough game.
It's gonna be really tough. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
On use then, and you spend, you've just mentioned it. Then, what was that stat, Musk, as well? It's something like 20 odd million.
We've only actually put down £3 million up front for those combined signings. So Beto and Chimiti has cost us no money up front. It's all the first payments will basically be in the next fiscal year, which the next accounting year, which means it doesn't. So from a financial fair play point of view, in the last, I think it's 18 months, we've brought in 180 million and only spent about like 10 or something. So we've and that look if you.
I wonder if that's allowed though. Do you know what I mean?
Do you mean what do you mean?
It's an agreement.
Well, I know it's an agreement, yeah, but I mean it's half bending the.
About this. Businesses do it.
I know, but it is half bending the rules a bit, though, isn't it?
No, not at all. Businesses do the same thing.
There's like a rule. There's a rule saying you can't spend X amount of money in this year, right? And Everton have went sound. Okay, we won't. And then you just went to Udinese. Hey, wink, wink. Give us that player and we'll just give the money to you next year if you're alright with that.
No, not at all, because next year we're then constrained, aren't we? Because that money's coming out of next year's accounts, therefore we're already starting on the back foot.
Yeah, but that's a problem for next year. But this year you've bent the rules a bit.
But what else are you meant to do? What's your choice?
No, but I'm just saying.
Everyone's doing it. That's not bending the rules, by the way.
But that's not an excuse, is it really?
Excuse for what?
Everyone's doing it.
But it's the rules. So
I know it's the rules.
So
I know it's the rules.
No other team's not doing it.
I know it's the rules.
Man United are doing it right now.
You understand now.
Chelsea are doing it right now. City are doing it.
But you understand though, if the league is saying basically you can't spend any money, and then you've managed, fair play to you.
No, the league is saying
to say to you, Nazy.
No, it's on your books. It's not like you're not allowed to buy players.
I know.
They're saying you're not allowed to
go over your books. Yeah, I get that. So you have managed, thankfully, to sweet talk you, Nazy, to say, like for example,
and that's yeah, go on.
He might have only been worth, for argument's sake, say 15 mil, but you went to Udinese and say, look, I know it's a bit of a pain, you're not getting the money straight away.
Disadvantage to us though, isn't it?
So we'll give you 20 or something next year.
Yeah, that's we're the ones who will have that disadvantage. It would be much cleaner for any team to go 20 million, that's his valuation, 20 million now, but that's not the market we're in now. No. Clubs are, on paper, paying more for players because they're trying to stagger the payments.
Stay within the means,
it's the same as like, your mate said to you, like, I'll buy your car off you and your car's worth $5,000, and he goes, I'll give you 10 grand for it, but I'm only going to give you 4 grand, 3 grand now, 7 grand next year. You like sound if you could afford to take. And it's about the receiving club, isn't it? The club that are taking that deal have got to be comfortable. They've got the cash flow now to deal with it.
And they know they're going to get decent dough next year.
So I know what you're getting, and it's kind of trying to.
It's like cheekily just saying that he's our bending rules a bit, but I listen, I get it.
But it's just like the way Chelsea are doing the 8-year
contracts,
deals and all that kind of stuff.
That's worse. I think that's worse. Amortising something over 8 to 10 years is different to saying we'll give you the first payment next year. Because it's generally and again, I think this is probably being misconstrued by a lot of football fans or just misunderstanding. Deals have been getting done like that for 20 years now. Over the life of your contract, not deals, but the clubs. That's how the clubs will amortise that asset and say we paid this much, and it's spread over the life of their contract.
I get that. Why it's just a little bit funnier now is because clubs might have been doing that for years, because they might just say, look, it's better for us if we can just give you 5 million, whatever. But Everton are now having to do this to stay in the rules. What I meant is that even if clubs are paying for them up front, their books won't tell the HMRC or whatever they've spent this much, because they want to balance it out and, of course,
and be as efficient as they can.
But it's just because it's so close to the line now, whatever.
And the other thing is you've got no cash. There's no cash reserve. So like Macheri's trying to balance the books with assets like the likes of Beto and Chimiti might be seeing, because they're younger players. There's a sell-on value. They're sitting on the club's books as an asset. Therefore, the club's actually gains from it. So we've now got an asset. Say like you said, say Beto's worth 18 million. He's sitting on the club's books as an asset, and we actually haven't spent anything to get him. Next year, he'll sit on there as an asset, but there's a payment gone out against that asset. Do you know what I mean? So
And listen,
it makes the club more valuable for a potential buyer, but they then got a debt that's sitting there in future years.
So moving on then to the red half. Actually went to match first time this season on Sunday. Just seeing pretty. Not that I'm moaning about it, but there was no drama, there was no last minute, there was not until it was just like a really polished professional performance against
City. Villa have had some hard luck there, haven't they? Like they lost Mings and now they lost Diego Carlos.
Yeah, well, that was weird. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, like, or why they just didn't turn up. Really, Villa, obviously they've been great, haven't they, the last kind of year or so, or last 6 months since they really kicked on with the new manager coming in. And they just didn't seem like the same team. I don't know whether it was.
I think it takes it out of you, doesn't it, when you go to a place like Anfield and you score so early.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I was going to say I didn't know whether it was.
And then you lose your main centre back. Yeah, having already lost your captain a few weeks before that.
I don't know whether it was just we just seemed to kind of go up a level or what. Just seemed a really polished performance, which I was buzzing with. Szoboszlai seems a player.
Yeah, he's a proper player. Yeah.
Like. Really, really good. That volley, reminded me a bit like Thiago's, where it's just that kind of.
Must have been good. It was like Thiago's.
Have you not seen it?
I've seen it. It's deflected, but it makes me laugh.
Did it deflect?
It's a slight deflection on it, yeah. A slight deflection on it. It makes me laugh. All my mates, all the red mates, like a year or so ago, was like Thiago. Wow. We just couldn't get him on the pitch anyway, and he was a bit of a waste of time in the end.
I think when he's on the pitch, you know what I mean? But yeah, you're right, when he's just injured all the time, and it's, what the fuck's the point? I thought what was mad, I thought Szoboszlai was left-footed. He's right. And to hit the ball like that with your weaker foot, it was just like... and then again, the link-up play, Trent again, getting on the assists. Salah didn't look like the news, which we'll come on to in a minute, hasn't affected him too much. Nunes still looking a bit
doing Nunes things,
getting himself in all the right positions, but just not quite being the finished article. but doing enough to get a goal. Great, yeah. Just a really...
Does it change, you know, given, I guess, his influence on the game, does it change your stance on it all in terms of the Salah situation, which you might as well just touch on it now?
Yeah, so, again, by the time this comes out, he might not even be a Liverpool player. I think the Saudi window closes Thursday. Again, we're recording this Tuesday.
215 million is apparently the full extent of the deal that's on the table now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it matter? Like, my point I was going to ask you is, now that you're past the 175 or whatever it was before our window closed, what difference is 30, 40, 50 million making? If losing Salah now, let's be honest, is going to mean you probably won't qualify for the Champions League, or you'll certainly find it a lot more difficult.
Are you winding me up?
No. You'll find it a lot more difficult to finish in the top four without Salah.
We didn't qualify in the Champions League with Salah last year, so... That
was a bit of a freak season. I'm going to go put that down to last season.
So if Salah doesn't play on Sunday, he didn't play against Villa on Sunday, did you still win comfortably 3-0? And, you know, they're not even...
Right, I need to kind of get this out the way, because in this group chat that we're in, me and Musk, and Mark Owens is getting a mention because he fucking listens every week and texts me every week giving me shit. I love Salah. Let me get that clear. I love Salah.
All right, I'm not
my whole argument is, if you've got Núñez, Gakpo, Jota and Diaz, right, as your backup, if you like, behind Salah, if them four can't do a job week in, week out against most teams, then you're fucked.
There's doing a job, though, and then there's being one of the best players in the world, isn't there?
And yeah, of course, but this is the other thing that frustrates me. I was speaking to the lads on Sunday about this whole conversation of, oh, who do we replace him with? You can't replace him.
Let me ask you something.
No, but I'm going to say, you can't replace him, though. So this whole idea is, oh, who do we... You don't. Like,
yeah, so why not get another 6 months or whatever it is? Why not get more time out of him then? If you know and you've accepted you can't replace him, even for the money that you're getting in for him, why not keep him as long as you can until the point where, like, we've got to get something for him? So would you, all right, hypothetically, would you take, if you knew you could get 100 million for him next summer, would you keep him for the sake of 100 million? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Would you keep him for this season?
But mate, it's the difference in numbers, though, right? You've seen how crazy the transfer market's gone. You've got, you know, defensive midfielders going for 115 million, whatever.
So do you not think you'd still get 100 million for him next
But I'm
summer?
saying, if we can get, for argument's sake, let's just say Saudi come in at, you know, midnight on Thursday and go 250 million for him. Come on, like.
What are you getting with 250 million then? Declan Rice.
I'd go
bang average striker.
No, I'd go for the winger in Napoli. I'd go for Napoli's winger.
Kvaratskhelia?
Yeah, I'll go for him. He's probably going to cost you 120, and you've still got 100 mil in the bank.
But when do you get him? Why don't you just wait till January and sell him then?
I think they might.
And then replace. I mean, if it was a case, I'm surprised that you haven't just gone back to them and said, not we'll sell him to you now, but we'll agree a deal now that happens in January, because we know that we can get someone in January. Listen,
my only thing, and I will apologise I'll apologise next summer if I need to. My only big thing is, I'd hate to look back and Salah goes for 100 million next year when he will still be one of the best players in the world. He'll probably be Liverpool's third or fourth all-time goal scorer. He'll still be Mo because he keeps himself in shape, and it'd just break my heart to know.
That would break your heart even more. Next week, Haaland gets injured for Man City after the window's closed. Man City just go. Arsenal do an old Arsenal and go. Suddenly there's a big opening to win the league, and you haven't got Mo Salah, and you're just struggling to kind of put it together. Wouldn't that break your heart more?
It would, yeah. And you make a great point. But my point is, though, you've got four boss lads there. It's not as if...
Yeah, but so City have got four boss lads behind De Bruyne, but it doesn't make the De Bruyne loss any easier while he's injured.
But the whole idea of these lads aren't on Salah's level, of course they're not. But at some point they need the chance to go and prove that they can be as good as him.
Is it a charity now, is it?
But you know what I mean? Like, you can argue Núñez, right?
Yeah, quality. It's alright, got to give him a chance. Go on,
everyone gets a medal, go on.
Yeah.
No, my point is, though, you'd argue about Jota or Núñez, for example. They're not playing week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? That's why they're not getting the numbers that Salah is.
None of those four players you're mentioning there would fetch more than 100 million in this market if they were available tomorrow. None of them. Not even half, so they're not even half the player. Saudi aren't paying even half the money for any of those four players.
They're not just paying it, though, for the player, are they? They're playing
for the brand.
Yeah.
I guess, but...
By the way, did you see his win bonus? So they're offering him 53 grand a win bonus. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So
They'd probably win without him.
it's mad, isn't it? So on that, it's like, again, I'm not saying it's...
So again, go back to your point. You said it'd break me heart if, again, you were talking about the money and stuff. What would break your heart more then?
Yeah, of course, yeah. If Haaland gets injured and he's out the season, whatever, yeah, and we know that we've not got Salah. But I think my thinking on this is, I really rate Núñez. I know it sounds a bit mad given that he's a bit erratic at times, but I think he could end up being our new striker who's getting us 25 plus a season. And I think he just needs a bit of a chance. Now, listen, that's down to Klopp to decide whether that's worth a gamble, to put that pressure on Núñez's shoulders to say, look, we've got you until January until we can get someone else in.
I'd suggest that, given we're talking about a manager who's got rid of the likes of Wijnaldum when people thought it was too early, and got rid of the likes of, obviously, the older players like Milner, Henderson or whatever, I'd suggest that Klopp knows if Núñez is up to it now. And if he thought he was, I think that deal would have been done by now. But I think Klopp's saying to the powers that be, that front four is not ready to, to compete at the very top level without Mo Salah, I think.
Yeah, and this, it might well be that. I just, do you know what I'd love in an ideal world, and I know this is just like pie in the sky stuff, I'd love if we just went and got Mbappe. And
you know what? That actually crossed my mind the other day where it was like 250 million, surely that.
Just go and get Mbappe. You know
why
what I mean?
are they not signing Mbappe?
They tried to,
they
didn't
tried
they?
to, but
Yeah.
Surely.
He just wants to go to Madrid, and why wouldn't you with the lineup that they've got with Bellingham, Everton? But yeah, if it was easy just going to pick someone with 250 million, I'd say let Salah go get in Mbappe. But listen, I don't think he will go anyway. So this is all. It
has captured the imagination of all footy fans, I think, just to see how it plays out in terms of at what point are you going to cave? Is there even any figure that makes you cave? Because what is the point in being a fan of a football club or being the owner of a football club if money is worth more than success? Do you know what I mean? You're buying success. That's what people do. You don't pay money to try and be the best team in the world. If you're going to get rid of arguably the best player in the world, there with Mbappe, I
just don't want to get bent over the barrel next summer because he's only got a year left. That's my big thing. And it's like I feel...
if that was the concern then, I think the minute you don't sell him, you need to be giving him mega money just to sign an extra year. That's got to be the compromise.
But I just feel that's probably what it's kind of why it's maybe annoyed a few of our mates is like, I feel like it's a cash out offer now. I feel like I've got a win and bet on my hand and it's offering me like a bit of a cash out. But if I leave it any longer, it's just going down and down and down.
Which is why, as I say, I think if you are going to dig in now, you've got to get to Thursday and know that you can throw, I don't know, £10 million bonus at Salah and go sign that contract for one more year. And I'm sure his agents will have a little bit of stipulation to say there's a clause of whatever, 150, 175 million. But at least you know that you've got security of getting to next summer and you're getting at least 150 for it.
See, if it was something a bit like that, be a bit different, but yeah.
Surely that's happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can, I mean... I know my friends are somewhat frustrated that he haven't got, the director of football that he's had for the last few years. But
although he is looking at coming back, there's talk of Michael Edwards coming back.
Never go back.
Less said on that, the better. On Saudi then, Henderson's come out this week. He's back in England, seems to be for the international, and he's decided for whatever reason to sit down with the Athletic and do a bit of a piece on why he's gone over to Saudi, which I just think is the stupidest thing he could have done. Number one, it's got people talking about everyone's moral compass again, and which I think is just...
I forgot about it a little bit, hadn't he? Henderson, because of everything that's going on, he was kind of the...
But they should forget about it. A man decided to go and work in another country, so what? And so I don't think he should have even spoke to them in the first place. And I just think he's just made a rod for his own back because he's just come out with the biggest load of shite ever.
What's he said?
Well, he just said it's not about the money.
Has he started blanking, Is that why you...
That's why I'm giving him in, no. To be fair, I've been texting him and stuff. I'm laughing at what's it like out there. Like, doing little thing. But it's done. Like, go and live your life. No one...
you don't know anyone.
You don't know... I literally said to him, and I said on social media type thing, doesn't know anyone, no explanation. So I just don't get why he's been advised to sit down and try and justify himself. So what? And anyway, he's come out and he's basically said, yes, it's not about the money.
Not about the money?
He said, it's not about the money. He said, I'm not on as much as everyone thinks I'm on.
Oh God, I'm getting really upset.
He said, I'm not on the 700 grand a week. He said, don't read everything you read in the paper. He said, I want to try and grow the brand of football, this sport that I love. I want to try and grow it. And he's just been ripped apart on social media.
I bet he hasn't. So
because, you know,
as you say though, it's probably frustrating for someone who, you know, has a bit of has respect for him and thinking, what are you doing?
I just feel like, not that I'm trying to say like I'm busy mates with him, but just as a mate, I feel like, lad, you're digging yourself a bigger hole. Just shut the fuck up.
Just leave it.
Just leave it. Who's asked you?
The people who had the opinion like you, that's not going to change it. It's just going to make you think, really?
That's all.
I had a bit of respect for you because you're just going over there, looking after your family, taking the money, like most working people would do. Now that you're twisting it to suggest that you're not, I've actually lost that bit of...
Or if you come out and went, I've done the interview at The Athletic, and obviously it was for money. Clearly it was for money. And he was just dead open and honest. But he's just been getting slaughtered all day on TalkSport. No doubt he will all week.
I've got to call it Andy Grant calling off about Jordan.
I've tried to ring up TalkSport before, but I haven't actually never got through. I know some people are a bit iffy with it, but I love it.
I love TalkSport.
I think it's great. I thought that was great. And then it also then kind of links into a little bit like Ramos, who got offered a big mega move to Saudi, turned it down, and now he's playing for his hometown club, Sevilla, which is great. So
someone said he was offered 20 million a year to go to Saudi, and he signed for Sevilla on 1 million a year, which is bossing it.
Yeah. So you put them in context next to Henderson story like that, it's like, but sorry,
no love lost between Ramos and Henderson, I imagine, as well, based on the clashes you've had with Madrid.
I know, but you can't listen. You can't not love Ramos for that. The other thing though I'll say about the wider kind of social media, which I think the media are loving this, drumming up all this Henderson stuff again. He's not a politician, he's not a spokesperson, and people are trying to put him on this pedestal of like, he should say this and he should say that, and that's what's been.
But he's not helping himself though, is he?
No, he's not.
Don't speak to Athletic then, you don't have to.
Hence why I've just said it was a bad move by him. But I mean, it does make me laugh, like people's like moral compass. But anyway, another moral compass that's getting called into question is obviously the whole Spanish Football Association. I thought it was interesting this week, Morata's come out and condemned that Rubles fella. So I think that's a big move. On one hand, you got the Spanish captain of the men's team coming out saying, look, this guy's basically no good. But then at the same time, you've got a Spanish team,
Getafe signing
Mason Greenwood,
celebrating it,
which is mad. It just seems like a massive own goal.
And by the way, the Getafe president was one of the first ones to come out and condemn him as well over his behaviour.
I mean, I don't want to go too hard on the whole Mason Greenwood because, like I said on a few weeks back, I am slightly on the fence in the sense of like how long do you punish this lad for type thing. Like at some point you've got to let him get on with his life, but at the same time I just thought it's a bit of a week to forget for Spain.
It's not you criticising the move from Getafe. It's just ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
And also on that note, United have thankfully got rid of a headache, albeit only for a year. I think it's only a loan move, isn't it?
Still retaining his contract, as you said. Yeah.
So,
and it's clever, isn't it? Because if he goes over there, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago, so
tears it up. Yeah,
one, tears it up. Two, cleans up his image, but he talks a little bit. Maybe it does a few articles with the Athletic and says, "This is no, like seriously, like
Jordan Henderson handbook."
I've had this counselling. I've done this.
They all seem to be going on diary of a CEO when they're going for these kind of talks.
I know,
yeah. So if all that happens, and as you say, tears it up and scores whatever 15, 20 in the league, which he could easily do, by the way, because he's a top player or was a top player, then United go, okay, let's just read the room now and see what everyone thinks about him, and if they are willing to forgive him, given the fact that he's maybe shown he's rehabilitated, then they reintroduce him again. So.
The last one as well, where we ended on something a bit fun to talk about, just on United's kind of troubles there. Like I said, they got rid of one headache, but they've now got another headache with Sancho, someone who I really thought was going to rip her up in the Prem.
Yeah,
he's just not. Ten Hag come out and said he's been awful in training. He's done a little post saying basically I've been great in training. It's against me and all that. That's one headache, and then the other headache is Anthony. He's Brazilian DJ influencer, Brazilian missus, has come out, said he's been knocking air about, and now he's been dropped from the Brazil squad. Now, they're 3 players. If you look at maybe your fantasy football a year ago, you probably would have had all those 3 in it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? If you could. 3 unbelievable talents.
You know Jadon Sancho is going to be at Bayern, don't you, in January? No doubt about it.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, he was brilliant in the Bundesliga one. He's really thought of highly there. I think if Dortmund had the money, they'd try and bring him back, but I don't think Sancho go back. He knows how big a club Bayern are. In fact, Harry Kane's there as well. Would probably give him a chance of getting back into the England fold. Because there's no way Southgate's dropping Kane, is there? And likewise,
less of the bad in the better, mate. Maguire's still getting a call up, mate. Yeah. I mean, that's
no. It's a strange squad. Like, how's Sterling not been picked? I mean, if all the times he should have been picked, probably now the best form he's been in a long time. It's a bizarre.
And if you read the reports, Pep's going to take over from him anyway.
No chance.
I hope he does anyway.
Slow news day there. Gotta be.
Oh, absolutely. There's not a chance Pep is dropping that job to take one of the most poisoned chalices in world football.
Mate, and to finish off on something a bit different, I think it was Musk's suggestion, mate, 5 celebrations, your 5 favourite celebrations over the years. I've had a little think there.
I'll put into context why though. This isn't just random. It was because I saw that
video. It's a great video,
The lad taking his top off when before he's even scored. It was a little bit like when Barkley's
on it. Well, that was up there.
Takes some doing to run and take your top off.
Yeah.
And knowing you're not going to fall over.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if he just knocks it wide or towies it or whatever.
You know what's boss about it? Fair play to him. He takes his shirt off and he literally sets himself after it and makes sure that he hits it cleanly with the inside of his foot.
But when I stand there, just take my top off normally. Sometimes a little bit like,
in COVID where you had to like stand upside down and take your top off, and that everyone was doing.
All those challenges. I'd be scared to run and take my top off whilst running. Honestly, never mind with the ball in the net. But anyway, so he does that, which sparked a little bit of a debate of your kind of favourite celebrations, which got me thinking back down memory lane.
Got to be
what?
Jürgen Klinsmann's the more.
Klinsmann, it's on there. I wrote down, but I'm just thinking of my childhood. I mean, I played left back, so I didn't score many goals. But like when you're playing like knockouts and that with your mates and stuff, which is the most pointless celebration I've done, but it's a player I used to love and I used to mimic him. He was clearly married or something, and he'd like kiss his wedding ring, Rivaldo. He always used to just kiss his hand or something. So I remember just always kissing my fingers if I was married at like 12.
Mine was always Shearer. It was just a basic one, but it was just Shearer. He always used to have his left hand there and then his right hand up there. It was like Shearer.
I think that's probably like in the Prem the most iconic, innit? Yeah. Shearer. The fact he's the top goal scorer and
it's basic winning as well. But Klinsmann for me, like think of it's just called the Klinsmann, innit? Like,
and you know what it is.
Yeah, everyone knows what a Klinsmann is. Like that's got to be up there for me. Is like
one of my favourites as well, and I did score a goal and actually done this.
I'm saying he was on a flip or nothing.
No,
the Robbie Keane.
Robbie Keane, that was a cracker.
That was a belter, wasn't it?
No, and it's been done a few times. Like Rooney's done it, Bellingham's done it, and Beckham's done it. Just to stand there like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just go on. What now?
And it was the first one to just go like that. You know, the
my name on the back, yeah.
Can't remember.
But I think though to have that kind of Bellingham's ripping it up in for Madrid. His celebration is literally every time it's just stands there like that. But I think the players when Beckham scored from the halfway line, he done that, and when Rooney scored the overhead kick against Man City, the same thing. I think that they were
Rooney's one after he got sparked out by Phil Bardsley was a good one.
Kales was boss for a while. He used to go over and
the
just
post.
punch the corner flag.
The
golf ones.
The golf one, yeah. Bellamy and Reese had a little.
James Maddison always does the guitar ones, doesn't he?
I hate them as a club, but remember Chelsea had that amazing one in the days of like Vialli and Graham Rousseau, and they all they lied down, and it was like a
like taking photos.
It was like 5 of them all lied down in a certain way, and I thought that was brilliant.
The best one, Jimmy Bullard, when Phil Brown got sacked. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he obviously mimics, for anyone who doesn't remember it or whatever, Phil Brown famously done a team talk at the Etihad, wasn't it?
Kept him on the pitch, didn't he, at half time?
They were getting beat 4-0 or 5-0 or something at half time, but it was the Etihad at Man City, wasn't it? I feel it was the Etihad. Muskie's going to check now. I'm almost certain it was. But he keeps the players on a half time and literally does the team talk on the pitch. And Jimmy Bullard talked loads about it, and he just said we completely lost respect for him.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like we hadn't tried. We just completely
just a better team, yeah.
And then obviously Phil Brown gets sacked, As soon as he gets sacked, the first game, I think they took the lead after like 5 minutes. Bullard scores, and he'd always rehearsed it. All the players went and sat on the floor, and Bullard told them.
I think as well as a Red, it's always great when you play United and you get one of the foreign lads always do like the 6 times now. Like Torres was doing that a bit.
Here's one for you, and you'll remember this because you're obviously similar age to me. Fowler at the Anfield Road. We used to call him Smackhead. Yeah. Smackhead. And he scores, and again, for the benefit of anyone who's not old enough to remember it, he goes and mimics to like snort a line of cocaine on the white touchline.
Well, you've got a t-shirt with that on, haven't you? It's like an Adidas t-shirt. Well, it looks like an Adidas t-shirt.
Yeah, that was class, to be fair to him. It was good salad.
That Phil Brown one was against Man City.
Glad I got that one. And for us, and again, most Evertonians, you remember Duncan, like when he first come to us, first game at Goodison, and he scores the header at the Gladys Street on the first game. It might have been the first game, Goodison, against Hughes, and he takes his shirt off and he's like that, and he's got muscles stands up everywhere.
I think the Gerrard kissing the camera at United's always a good one to see.
And the one down the touchline, the Bullens, Gerrard, when he runs
with his tongue
out. That was a good one as well, the years.
I was out that game, it's been some crackers. Let us know any in the comments and message us any that you think.
We were asked for top 5, by the way. We just got a bit carried away there.
Just random, just naming random ones. Or go on then, if you had to pick your best 3 that you've seen.
Klinsmann's number 1 for me.
Okay. I liked ones that, that, again, not that I ever did because we were a bit older and I stopped playing by them, but you just knew what you were getting. Like Suarez, and he do like his 3 kisses, didn't he? To his like wife and his 2 kids. That's not my favourite, but I liked where you just knew what you were getting with him. You just knew you were getting the 3 kisses, boom, done. Let me think. I'm going to go for that one, like the Bellingham, Beckham, Rooney kind of one. I thought that was brilliant. Thinking about it now, Fowler, for me.
It's a belter, that one.
It's a belter one, yeah.
Shearer's number 2 for me, just iconic. And I used to like, whenever you're like one-on-one with someone, you're going to smash the ball past them. You go, Shearer, boom.
Yeah. Actually, you know what one I didn't mention them, but I'm going to put that as my 3rd. When someone would get down on one knee and then the other player would put his foot on the knee and then like he'd...
Like shine.
Yeah.
Clean the
boots. Like a spit shine. That's going to be my 3rd, yeah.
3rd for me, you know what I'd probably say as well, and this was like going back to it again when you used to play in the streets with your mates or whatever and it was getting a little bit heated, is like, who's the first one to do that? You know what I mean? It was like,
just shut up.
Like I remember we used to play pairs, right? And like you'd be having a proper, like it was down to the final, you and someone else, they took the lead. And like we used to, our game of pairs, we used to play in the bowlies in Stanley Park. Because it was a boss sly on the people who played bowls.
Yeah, we used to do it on the sillies, jump over on the ball.
So playing the bowlies and like the other pair would go 1-0 in front and they're all celebrating, you're like, and then we get 2-1 in front.
Remember Cat Spires one? Where he just booted the advertiser.
Oh yeah, where he like knocked the ball down. Wasn't that in the Champions League, wasn't it?
Can't even remember what the game was.
I think it was in Europe. But I think these equalised quite late on, hadn't they? Tomorrow Cat Spire. Yeah, I remember that one.
Baby one as well, not mentioned that one, whole baby one.
My brother did that.
Romario was the first one.
Yeah, was it in the World Cup, was it?
It was Bebeto, wasn't it? No, Romario and Bebeto were doing it. In 94, I think it was.
Yeah.
USA
the World Cup was good for bringing out celebrations, wasn't it? Because you'd have all like the African countries doing all mad dances.
Like cultured ones,
that. What are yours, Musk?
Oh, mate, I'm just the questions, man, yeah.
You can't put on the spot like that.
Right, nice one. Hope you enjoyed that roundup of sport. If you want our betting tips this week, please get on Patreon. We've also got a Wednesday show coming, so if you want to get involved in that, see what we're going to be talking about there, all the stuff that's maybe not as PC maybe for YouTube and everything else, and you want to get behind the paywall, that's on Patreon. All the links are there, and we'll see you next week.